Hey there YouTube friends, this is Carrie with Any Day Blessings, and today I'm going to take a look back at Singapore 2A, 2B and take a look ahead at using 3A, 3B starting in the fall. Now I will let you know that when I used 2A and 2B, we were also using the Heart of Dakota Bigger Hearts for His Glory guide. And if you are not familiar with that guide, I'm actually planning to do a flip through and show you all the resources and show you what some daily lessons look like and all of that. But basically, it's all laid out in a 2-page spread, and that's your day's work. There are little boxes and everything is all planned out for you. And in the math box for the day in that guide was just a very simply scripted little box of information, no more than this. Like, think of an index card. Basically, reading an index card was your lesson. And then there was an assignment out of the workbook. And it was so well planned out for me. The lessons were meaningful. They used object lessons with things that we had around the house to easily teach the math concept for the day, and my son and I both loved it. I loved the ease, and he loved the variety and the hands-on component. Now, in 2A, 2B, the textbooks are in full color, but the workbooks are just black and white. And I was concerned, coming from a full color curriculum, that my son would, not like that, but he really didn't even mention it at all. In fact, there are lots of black and white cartoons and animals and things like that that he would end up coloring once he finished his math page for the day. So he added his own color. I actually read somewhere online that was part of the intent of the program, that once a student successfully completed their page, that they can then color their page while the other students in the classroom finished. So that was actually intentional, I guess. Okay, so now that was 2A, 2B. So it was all planned out for me, and it was very easy to implement. I just opened up that Heart of Dakota guide, read the box, and gave my son the assignment. Super easy peasy. Well, Heart of Dakota does not plan the Singapore lessons like that anymore. They just offer this schedule here, which I've marked up and tried to make sense of. And that's what they do for 3A and up. Okay, so no more nice little index card size lessons that are all scripted out for you. So I picked up the Home Instructor's Guide for level 3A, and then I picked up the textbook and the workbook, of course. Here we are. Now, I will say one difference I've already noted is that this is just kind of like a two-tone. It's not full color. It's just varying shades of red and pink. It's not the full color in the textbook. The workbook is once again black and white, but that was just one small little thing I noted, that it wasn't full color anymore. So just thought I'd point at that small difference. But the main difference this year is I have to figure out this Home Instructor's Guide. And you guys, that is no easy task. This is just gobbledygook to me, because there's no there's a week. It says the word week 1. So this is everything you need to complete in week 1, I guess. And there's no real days though. Okay, so what do I do on day 1? This is taking up several days, it looks like. This is maybe just one day here. I tried to figure all this out, and it was just really confusing to me. And to make matters worse, when you go back to the lessons, no longer do we have those nice, succinct little index card size lessons. Now we have this, okay? This is lesson 1. So it starts up here. This is the start of a lesson. I think this is the start of a lesson, okay? I'm not 100% sure. But I think this is what you would do on one day. So here is the objectives you're trying to accomplish. Here's an activity to do. Then you flip it over, you're not done. Here is another activity to do, and yet another activity to do. This is all in the teaching portion. And then down here is an opportunity to have your child do some work in the textbook. Okay, so they have, after they teach the lesson, they have questions in the textbook. This is the part that your child's not supposed to write in, right here. See, they have some questions here. So here would be the lesson portion, okay, with some diagrams, okay, going from the hands-on portion with those activities to the pictorial, and then we're going to try and write out some answers here. So following that Singapore 3-step method for teaching. But these would be things that you do with your child. Okay, so you would do those things in the textbook, and then you assign to your child workbook exercise 1. So then you come over here to this one, and your child does an exercise independently out of this book. That's how I have interpreted all of this, okay? And that is 1 day. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I don't know that I need to do 3, learning activities before my son grasps the concept. I'm not sure. Typically we just do 1 or 2 examples and we're done. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, I have to really study this and figure out what I do in 1 day. So what I'm doing, I am starting to build, I've got papers over here. I am starting to build a lesson plan that's built on daily work. Okay, not this grid. It looks like it's more cut up by the week. That might work for some people, but I would end up on Friday doing like 3 days worth of work. So I don't want that. So what I'm doing is I am taking the first 6 to 8 weeks of the Singapore lessons in 3A. And I am turning those into a daily lesson plan. But I'm not just breaking up what's in that teacher's guide and putting it according to day's work. I'm actually going to try and do this while making Singapore a little more spiral. Less mastery, more spiral. And this is how I'm going to do that. I noticed when I was going through the textbook here, okay, I noted that there were these practice sections, okay? Now these practice 1A, 1B, those are just going over the item immediately taught, like the one that was just taught immediately prior. So in some instances, there are 3 of these practice pages, okay? So, like in chapter 2, there are 4 of them, 2C, 2D. So you see it's a full page worth of work, which this is about all the work I would give my child for 1 day. I wouldn't normally assign 2 pages like this in 1 day, especially if we've done practice pages together in the textbook already. So I wouldn't normally assign those. So I noted that they were having the child do like 1 to 3 of these practices in 1 day. So what I did was I just said, those are kind of like chapter reviews or section reviews. We only need to do 1 of those at the time. So the rest of them I'm going to save, and I made a list at the top of my paper here. I'm making a list of all those extra reviews. So for chapter 1, it had 2 of those practice pages. I am saving 1 of them. I'm not doing it immediately after we finish chapter 1. We're just going to do 1 of those practices to make sure that we did okay with that chapter and can move on. Or that section. I think it's a section. But then what I'm going to do is I am making out this schedule, and I'm going to bring back that extra practice 2A, in week 3. So week 1, we're doing lesson 1, or what is it called? Section 1. See, I got to learn the terminology, you guys. I don't want to confuse you. But they're called there's a week 1, unit 1, part 1, and lesson 1. I mean, you see what I mean? This is just so crazy. Why can't we just say lesson 1 through 180? I mean, that would be so much easier. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I am making and putting on my blog, so that every homeschool mom after me that uses this can just do 1 lesson a day and not worry about it. Okay, so that's what I'm making. So I'll be watching on my Instagram page when I have this all the way done and have it on the blog for you to print out and use. Okay, so I noted that for so week 1, this is week 1 right here. And over here on the side, they want you to do practice 1A and 1B. We only need to do 1 of those to make sure that we have the concept down. So I'm saving 1B, and we'll do that in week 3. So this is the little system I'm coming up with. In odd weeks, so week 3, 5, 7, 9, I'm going to review odd practices. So 1B, 3C, whatever. So I'm going to bring back 1B during week 3. And we're going to see, did you remember what we learned 2 weeks ago? Okay, let's see if you remember it. I'm not having to buy or supplement anything extra. There's plenty of practice in here. I think they just have it set up a little screwy because, this is my opinion, they're like a world-class math curriculum. I shouldn't say that they have it set up screwy, but they have reviews in here in the workbook, but they're like every month. And that's like and sometimes even longer than that. That's too long for my son. When we did that in 2A, 2B, and we just did, I want to find one of these review pages for you. When we did one of these reviews, my son was always saying, oh, Mom, that was like forever ago. How am I supposed to remember that? You know, that kind of was a clue to Mommy. Okay, we aren't mastery people here. We are, oh, where is the review? We are spiral people. And I didn't want to switch from Singapore. Okay, so this is like the 14th less exercise is the first review. Okay, that's when they have their review. But it isn't scheduled. Let's go over to the Home Instructor's Guide. The first review is scheduled in, is that review A? That's review A. Maybe that is, it doesn't say, it just says review A. This is review 1. So see, they're not even numbered right. Yeah, I don't see review 1. It's page 39. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, so 5 weeks in. 5 weeks in, and then they review. That's their first scheduled review. If you just do it as they write, that's the first time your kid will review topics covered already, 5 weeks in. In BJU Press, we reviewed every day. In Math Lessons for a Living Education, which we considered, it was weekly review. And in Singapore, it's 5 weeks before you get the first review. So that's why I decided to see if there was some way I could bring in a little review of my own with what was already here. So it's going to take a little work. I hope it's clear what I'm trying to do and if it brings any value to you. But I've listed out, I've just gone up through those first 5 weeks of lessons, or 6, I think it's 6 weeks of lessons, and I've listed out all of the extra reviews. So we're going to do one of the reviews for that topic or chapter or section, whatever it's called. We're going to do one of them to make sure that we have it down, and if we don't, we'll go back and reteach and try again. But the extra pages that they have for review of that topic, we're going to schedule in every other week to have those topics reviewed. So every week, we will be reviewing something that we've already learned before. And the way I'm going to do that is Monday, oh, not this one. Sorry, I'm going over here. I'm not going to have them do that page, the review page, all in one day. We're going to start off with review. So we're going to do mental math. Let me go back to that one. Okay. So this is how we're going to start off our math. We're going to start off with mental math, like 10 problems of mental math. Did I show you mental math? I don't think I showed you mental math. This is mental math. What's in this one? See, you guys, this has me all sorts of spaghetti. My mind is like Jello. This is why I am writing it down. I'm going to have a completely typed out thing, because if I had to sort through all of this every lesson and figure out, oh wait, no, that's in this book and that, no, we would not, we would not make it. This is scheduled too in that teacher's grid, this mental math page. So this is like your fact practice. But we don't need to do this whole thing every day. I'm thinking there are 30 problems. We'll do 10 a day, okay? So he's going to go down and he's going to do these 10 mental math problems. It's kind of like a math warm-up. Then I'll get out our practice 1B and we'll do this. Okay, do you remember place value, buddy? Let's practice these real quick. All right, so we're going to have 10 fact problems. Let's see here, six greater than, less than, place value kind of review, and then we'll start whatever our new lesson is. Does that make sense? So I'm bringing in some mental math, some review from a previous chapter that I have listed out, and then we'll start our new topic for the day. It's how I'm kind of trying to make Singapore a little more spiral. It's going to be a lot of work on the front end for me, so I'm only doing, like I said, the first 6 or 7 weeks to see if it even works. If it works and it goes really well, then I will plan out the rest of the course and put that up on my blog too. So that's what I'm planning to do. I hope I'm not making it harder than it is, but I just cannot. I know myself. If I have to sort through all these books every lesson and figure out what I'm supposed to do that day, I won't make it. And Singapore's working so great for my son. I want to make it work. So I have to put this little bit of time in now to make daily. This is what you do today. Okay, this is what you do today, Mom. I have to do that for myself. And I thought I'd share it with you all. So those are my plans. Let me know in the comments below maybe something simpler that you have figured out on how to make the home instructor's guide work for you, and bring in a little more review. I didn't really want to purchase something else to get that review in. Now we are going to use another math book just for fun on Fun Fridays because my son really liked the look of mathematical reasoning. So he really wanted to have like a fun day of math. And those lessons are all super, I mean, they're just built around fun and puzzles, and it's full color. So we are going to have that on Fridays, but I'm not getting that to supplement Singapore or like review or anything like that. I'm getting that just to kind of keep things fresh around here so that he feels like he has something different on Fun Fridays, and kind of, and the two programs are actually very similar. They're very conceptually based. They do number bonds. They do a lot of mental math exercises. They do the same level of, or not the same level, the same progression of skill. So they're kind of teaching the same things at the same level. So, so don't get confused when you hear me say I'm not supplementing because I have another book. But it's not for supplementation. It's really just for interest and variety. It's not because I feel like we need to do anything else with Singapore. I feel that there's plenty of review here. It's just scheduled out in a weird way. I think if they would just bring some of those problems, you know, like on the mental math problems, for example, why don't you just say, here are a couple other problems. They're not mental math, but they're other problems that we've already covered. These are like review, just have that in the back. I don't know. I hope I made sense. I hope this was helpful to you at what I'm planning to make. Be sure to follow me on Instagram so you know when this schedule is posted, and please give me your feedback because I want this to be successful for not only us but for you guys, and I really rely on the feedback from you all that have used this stuff already. So take care and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.